6 December 1964. Dearest Suzie, another full day of flying is over. Today was pretty interesting, though. I flew a full colonel around, and he kept me very well up to date on the fighting that was going on in the area that we were working in. I kinda enjoyed it. We got shot at once, and it didn't even frighten me. That worries me, though. The fact that I wasn't scared. I feel like when a person stops being afraid over here, he is in trouble. But one reason why it didn't bother me was the fact that the captain flying with me did get shook up, and seeing him scared kind of kept me at ease. It is very late. I didn't get in until 6 o'clock tonight, and I was so tired I laid down and got in a nap, so it is almost 11 o'clock now. When are you going to send me a tape? I look for one every day. Oh, yes, note the new address. That APO is 96357. I have a package here all wrapped to send as soon as I can get to the post office. Don't laugh when you see the size of it. It contains some very valuable items. This stuff is 90% silver. The 3 necklaces belong to Pat, Brenda, and Pauline. The little bracelet is for Audrey. It is much easier for me to send it all to you and that you resend it to her. Tell them it is for my very pretty young niece, from Unka Bill. You might touch it up a little bit before you send it, but I guess real silver is hard to keep shiny. I got this from a dealer I could trust. He has been selling silver jewelry in the Da Nang's Officer Club for 6 years. He has letters from a bunch of high-ranking officers and all. Anyway, he started out with a price for all this stuff of $40. I worked on him for 2 days and got the price down to $15 for the whole lot. I thought it was all just beautiful. What do you think? Well, I will close for now, sending you all my love. Kiss the boys for me. Sincerely, Bill. What I find most interesting about this entry is the fact that, for perhaps the first time, we see Poppy not as a pilot, soldier, combatant, or drunk, but as a tourist. When Meemaw moved out of her trailer in Georgia, the final place that was solely hers, the one she bought with Poppy where his mom lived until she died, I saw what became a large collection of what might be best described as Vietnam things. These were small trinkets, odds and ends, kimonos, silverware, a liquor cabinet, flags, you name it. She also showed me the jewelry cases with rings, necklaces, and earrings he sent her. Not just from Vietnam, but from his travels on the tuna boat as well. He sent these things home or brought them with him on his way back. It's fascinating to consider why he would bring these things home, and may inspire us to ask broader questions about tourism in general. Why take things with you? To prove you were there? To remember? To spoil your friends and family with a trinket crafted by hand in a bamboo-walled building on the other side of the world? The same goes for photos. Is it to prove you were there? To remember? To hold on to things that may be painful but you feel so much guilt over that you can never forgive yourself for doing them? I am incredibly fortunate to still have many of these souvenirs, but it's just amazing to consider why he would keep them. Additionally, why would I keep them? Because they're a material connection to my grandfather and his time in service? A period of time that hurt his very soul, that he then used to justify the transference of pain onto the rest of the family? Most notably, I have a Viet Cong flag that he took as a war trophy. It was one of the first things I got from his collection, and I almost immediately hung it up. As a teenager, you could walk into my room and see a flag with one blue and one red stripe containing a yellow star in between them. It's hand-stitched and feels like it's made out of old parachute material, like the VC were making flags with any sort of fabric they could get their hands on. Being known as a patriotic person, it might have been a bit jarring to see me display that so proudly. However, to me, it was a historical artifact. It was more than just Poppy. It was proof of a major international event, one which changed the world. Of course, it was special because it came from my grandpa, but it was history. The same goes for the state flag of Florida that I kept that flew over Vietnam and Vinh Long's Avenue of the Flags. As a grandson, historian, anthropologist, or whatever you want to describe me as, the artifacts became prized possessions and direct, personal connections to the past. But why would Poppy keep these things if they brought him so much pain? If they made him drink? If they made him hit his kids? I am amused by his reference to Audrey and his identity as Unka Bill. Audrey is Meemaw's brother's daughter, Poppy's niece. Pat, Brenda, and Pauline are his younger sisters. In this letter, he references buying them jewelry as souvenirs. Perhaps he was cheap and didn't want to pass on a good deal for silver. However, again, this points to the ways that soldiers become tourists, even when they may be facing combat and danger. Think about the stories you may have heard from World War II soldiers, traipsing their way across Europe with their friends, liberating country after country. What are the things they took and sent back home? What compels someone to do something like this? The photo I chose for today depicts a bamboo structure with a palm frond roof. Underneath the cover, the ground is littered with wood shavings. There are multiple men under the structure, working on planing wood. There's a stack of finished boards up against a pole. It appears this may have been a woodworking shop, where men are using hand tools. Perhaps one of the things I have from Poppy came here. Perhaps they were just the workers who helped build the compound, and this was one of the places they worked on things before they built the structures. Who knows? I'm Alex Lowie, and I hope you have enjoyed listening to this episode of Dearest Suzie, and receiving messages from the past that my Poppy wrote exactly 60 years ago. I sincerely appreciate your time and interest. Please consider following the podcast on your preferred platform, and if you're enjoying it, I kindly ask that you take the time to rate the show and leave a review. Also, please follow the project on YouTube, X, and Instagram. All likes, comments, shares, and reviews will help grow the reach of this story. The links for these things should be in the description of this episode. Please feel free to email me at dearestsuziepodcast@gmail.com if you have anything you'd like to say. I'd love to chat or to hear about your stories as well. Thank you for listening, and God bless.